Howdy guys, it's Commander Clyde, back once again with another patch notes analysis video, and today we have the hunting season 4.4 patch notes. This is a big patch which will be coming out next week, I would anticipate. Possibly longer, it depends on how long testing the new god's going to take, but yeah, we have a new god, Cernunnos. I believe that's how they were pronouncing it in the patch notes video. The horn god, he is Celtic, first of all. Established that, very heavily nature themed, which I'm quite happy with that they're doing that with a Celtic god, as nature, forces of nature and things were very important to their religion. So anyway, getting into it, he is a hunter also. Ooh, basic attacks are fun. First of all, let's talk about the passive, which is Cernunnos wields a glaive as a weapon. His basic attacks deal additional damage to all enemies in melee range while he's throwing it. So it will provide the primary in-hand damage to the enemy you're throwing it toward, and any other enemies in the area will be dealt a smaller percentage of damage in melee range, which I believe also includes the target that is taking the primary in-hand damage. So you get the bonus damage there, and the initial in-hand hit. And then ability 1, Shifter of Seasons. Cernunnos imbues his glaive with the power of the 4 seasons activating. This ability rotates him through 4 different bonuses in his basic attack. And this works just like a normal toggle, like Xbalanque's one. The weird thing about it though is it has absolutely zero cooldown. It doesn't have that little tiny 0.2 second cooldown before you can hit the button again. It is constant. You can mash that button as much as you want and change between stances. I mean, you can do it while you're autoing, so you can fire multiple basic attacks with the different effects if you want, like that. So first of all, Spring Growth, which is his first stage. By the way, his fur will glow, and so will the passive meter to indicate what stance, what season you are in. So in spring, it'll be green, and what that will do is give bonus physical lifesteal. I believe that scales when you rank up the ability. Not positive about that. So yeah, bonus lifesteal damage. If you have Death Toll, well, you just get an 8 bonus lifesteal. And that seems like it would be pretty strong for your sustain. Summer Heat, with that he will glow red, or no, it's yellow. That deals bonus damage, just straight up bonus damage. Nothing too fancy about that. Autumn Decay, interesting one. He will turn orange, red, reddish orange, or whatever when you are in this stance. And what that does is it provides a protection debuff for 5 seconds when you hit a target with a basic attack while in that stance. That'll be very strong, very good for team fighting potential, because that will translate to your teammates also being able to do more damage while they're debuffed. It's very convenient. Also means you can innately just win trades with other hunters because you debuff them and then deal bonus damage when you switch to the Summer Heat, which I feel like is probably going to be probably too strong. Like, this god seems honestly broken to start because of that. Also, I didn't mention this, when you toggle your stances, it doesn't cost mana. Seems right, yeah? Xbalanque's isn't as good, and his costs mana. So, yeah. The last one, Winter Chill, he will turn a whitish blue. in that stance, and that will provide a slow persisting for 1 second. So you get Fatalis, built-in Frostalis. Wow, high-res. So convenient. It's gonna break duel, this guy, unless they, like, do some nerfs before they release him. He's gonna break duel, which is fine. Conquest is the important game mode. You can't balance a game off of any other game modes. So yeah, OP first ability. Second ability, Bramble Blast. Bleh. Bramble Blast. Bees are hard to say. Cernunnos fires a thorn forward in the line that deals damage if it's a single enemy it hits. When it hits an enemy, a wall, or I'm reading this strangely. When it hits an enemy, a wall, or reaches max range, it explodes, dealing damage and spawning an area of thorns at the location. The area deals damage every 0.5 seconds and slows enemies inside it, persisting for 5 seconds. Yeah, this is pretty fun during a 1v1 fight. You just drop that instant roots, secure autos. Crazy. Does a good bit of damage too. It doesn't specify whether by enemy it means god or minion or both. Or I don't know if it means only gods or gods and minions. So I don't know if you can shoot it through minions to deal damage and clear or not. But we'll see that later. Expect a video of me playing him in the future. Horn Charge is the third ability. Cernunnos charges forward, damaging, crashing through all types of enemies. That's it. Nothing to explain. He's not crowd control immune during that, by the way. Don't know if he's slow immune. He might be. That wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. But that's good for repositioning, getting behind your opponents, or escaping, you know. And then finally the ultimate, the Wild Hunt. Cernunnos selects an area where the Wild Hunt will begin. After a 1 second casting time, which is a beam that comes downward to the ground, and it explodes in an AoE. Enemies in the area will be damaged and polymorphed into wild boars. Polymorphed targets are silenced and disarmed. Polymorph is not affected by diminishing returns. So you can cast it, and it will not change the amount of time that the target is crowd controlled. By the way, with diminishing returns is, you know, the effects of applied CC consecutively get weaker as you apply them. This is why timing of CC is very important, so you get the maximum amount of crowd control. But this doesn't have that problem. So they will be silenced and disarmed for the same length regardless of whether or not DR is involved. It doesn't last very long from what I've seen so far. But it's really great for teamfight disruption and stopping your opponents from being able to deal damage. The basic idea of, you know, you stop their damage and allows you to better secure yours. That can be a pretty strong ability if it's applied correctly. Skins, nobody cares. Also, hopefully this means Kuzumbo is available in ranked. Expect the duel video shortly, because I will be doing that. Emotes, recalls, nobody cares about these. Well, some people do. I'm not going to talk about them though. Miscellaneous stuff. But let's talk about it. Fixed an issue where undo was returning the incorrect amount of gold. Let's see how that could be a problem. Players will now be notified if they've been reported. Fixed an issue where players could lose their mouse cursor in-game and in menus. Hopefully this fixes the no mouse glitch that sometimes happens after you've been spectating a game and then go to play one. Sometimes your mouse will disappear. Hopefully that changes that, because it's very annoying to get that and then have to restart your game. And fixed instances where bots could get stuck on towers of terrain. This notably happened to Calder and the Jade Rabbit. Very good. That could be a problem if the Jade Rabbit gets stuck, because if you went to use him to buy something, well, you're not going to get your item. Item changes. Big stuff here. Bancroft's Talent. Bancroft is a high risk, high reward item when it comes to maximizing the damage it can provide. In 4.4, we're increasing the lifesteal provided by this item and its passive to better enable the risky playstyle. By risky playstyle, it means you gain power relative to how little health you have. So the less health you have, the more power you have. And it also increases passive lifesteal. It also gives you extra passive lifesteal when you're at low health. And so they've buffed it to increase the lifesteal and the passive lifesteal, which is good because most of the time in Conquest you're not buying this item. Because the other two options, you had the Book of the Dead and Polynomicon, were better lifesteal items because of what they provided for their cost. Poly is much more effective, provides much more utility than Bancroft at the same cost. Or similar. I don't remember if they're the same, but yeah. So Bancroft wasn't getting used. This might increase its usability. We'll see. Next, Book of the Dead. Book of the Dead allows mages who want to focus on lifesteal access to bonus health. However, the power of other lifesteal choices combined with the cost left this item feeling underwhelming. I disagree. We are reducing the cost and bringing up the lifesteal to help this item be a viable option for lifesteal playstyle. It's a great survivability item. If you get it stacked up, that's a lot of health, man, and it's honestly has a really strong passive without that, and now they're reducing the cost and increasing the lifesteal. Double buff. I don't agree with how they felt about that, because I've seen that used properly and it's silly. Fatalis decreased attack speed. So, not as strong. Whatever. Flickering Ritual, the new ritual consumables. I'm not going to read their analysis. This is dumb. You guys know what the problem is. You get late game and then you can't kill your opponent. Then it's like the worst experience ever, because you get close to killing your opponent, gone. Just blink, goodbye. Drags out games for an unnecessary amount of time, and it's completely silly. There's no reason for this to exist. They're increasing the cost to help, but it shouldn't be in the game, is the main thing about it. So anything they say about it doesn't matter, because it shouldn't be in the game. There's no risk in buying this thing. What risk is there when you're buying it late game? Before Season 4, Haste and Fatalis was seen as a fun item that was not strong enough to be competitive. With added penetration, it has become a serious contender for many classes and gods, and in some cases provides too much strength. We are slightly increasing its cost to better reflect its new power. Okay, that's good. I like that. Makes you think a little bit more carefully about it, but you're probably not going to, because it's a strong item anyway. Still buy it. Yeah. Heartseeker. Heartseeker provides stats that most assassins and warriors love, and has a passive that helps them scale better into the late game. The stats are not that great. At 2100 gold, this item was providing a lot of that power too quickly. Oh boy, guys, come on, the typos. We are increasing its cost to 2400 to place it more in line with other comparable options like Jotun's Wrath. Really, the stats aren't great. It's 25 power, 10 movement, 10% movement, and 10%. I forgot the last stat. I think it was attack speed. Might be wrong. But yeah, the stats weren't that great. Warriors didn't love it that much, because the stats it provided were not really stats they needed. And I feel like it doesn't provide enough power for it to be worth it if you're a warrior. Because if you're doing a standard thing, let's just playing solo lane, you're not going to have much passive power. You're not going to have much power from items. So the passive will do very little. for you in that scenario, so that's wrong. Assassins love it, yes, because they usually have high physical power bases, or they buy a lot of physical power items, so helps them a lot. It's on some assassins it was kind of broken, like on Thanatos, so gold increase is fine. Updated description on Soulstone to state it provides mana when stacks are consumed, whatever. God changes Apollo. Apollo rose to the top of everyone's list at the start of Season 4. As the meta has stabilized, Apollo fell from being the most dominant pick, but he's still overperforming. His early clear with So Beautiful and superior boxing ability from Serenade's protections are both seeing a slight downward adjustment to rein him back in. Decreased base damage from 80 to 300 to 70 to 290. So he's not clearing minions as effectively now. That was the thing about him. In the first change in Season 4 to him, they took off the thing that debuffed the damage he did on subsequent hits on minions. So now it just deals the same amount of damage to everything you hit. So it made it a little too improved, so that's fine. Serenade reduced physical protections from 10 scaling to 50 to 10 scaling to 30. I like that. It's an annoying ability, you know, so, and it's very strong, so nerfing it a little bit, taking out some of the usefulness helps a lot. Because see, sometimes people were popping it just for the protections, not even to use the mez. But now that the protections have been nerfed, you have to think more carefully. And here is our boy, Kuzumbo. Very closely monitoring this guy for whether or not he's too strong. In the last patch, we made a few adjustments to Kuzumbo's overall feel and are now looking at other ways to give him strength, especially in the late game. Nene Kappa is Kuzumbo's primary damaging ability, allowing him to impact the fight when his ultimate and sumo push are down. In this patch, Shell Spikes will reduce the cooldown of Nene Kappa much more, giving a properly positioned Kuzumbo access to increased damage and disruption. I see the logic. This makes his early game stronger, though, because the Kappa does more damage to minions and stuff. It's helpful in the clear. But if you get that, you know, get the Shell Spikes by level 4, which is about, I think you do 2 points in the Kappa, and then 1 in the Sumo, and 1 in the Shell Spikes. He's now going to have a 0.5 second cooldown reduction to Nene Kappa. Which means, and let's think about his early clear. You use it on a buff, press 2, you get hit 3 times, it'll decrease the cooldown by 1.5, so you get hit once by each minion in the count. They do that twice, it's 3 seconds. Like, so he can just throw that thing all the time. And think about late game, if he does that on a buff. 3.9, almost 4 seconds of cooldown reduction for getting hit once by each enemy in a jungle camp. He can literally throw it twice in the span of 3 seconds. And remember, you can ricochet it to apply the damage twice, and I believe it's 210 at max rank. So that's 630 damage. Base. That's base, by the way, not scaling. Do I need to talk more about that, really? Seems a little much. This is too much of a buff on the cooldown reduction. I would have been happy with 0.2 going to 1 second. So we go 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, 1 second. I think would be a good spot for that. And they did too much again. And fixed an issue where his shell spikes could not be used while in a knockup. When fire wheels, updated description to accurately state how much damage this ability deals. Osiris's ring of spears, blah 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 blah. Odin's ring of spears, whatever. I'm not going to read these out. Ultimate level abilities that were intended to prevent all healing, but function in different ways and had conflicting descriptions. All 3 abilities stated they reduced all healing in their description text, but also said they reduced healing by 100%, which are different effects. To add to the confusion, ring of spears was properly preventing all healing, but circa its last breath. Cyrus is Lord of the Afterlife for only reducing it by 100%. We are updating these abilities to now reduce all healing. So if you somehow had more, or were able to like increase your healing while you were being affected by those abilities, by like an aura or something, would you be able to heal? If it said it was reducing it by 100%, how are those different? I don't, that's weird to me, but anyway, they prevent all healing. Now, okay. I'm still confused. Raw Solar Blessing, fix the description not stating this provided protections. Sylvanas has rooted himself in this meta, providing strong early game pressure in the duo lane. Part of his strength comes from verdant growth, allowing Sylvanas to clear and engage his enemies often. We are increasing the cooldown at rank 1 for this ability, lowering Sylvanas' power during the first few levels. So we increase the cooldown of verdant growth, so you throw the seed down, taking longer to have it up. It now scales down as you rank it up, starting from 16 seconds, going down to 12. Just taking off some of his early game power. That's fine. He's been a favorite lately. Maybe a little too strong, but there you go. Xbalanque, whom happens to be my favorite hunter, yet, boy, he's hard to work. He's hard to get to work. Like, he's a tough god to play. Late game hunters are notoriously sensitive to balance adjustments. When looking at Xbalanque, who was underperforming, we wanted to make sure we didn't push him over the edge and instead gave him a few tools to better enable him to reach late game. Branching Bolas was getting an early mana cost decrease to give him cheaper wave clear, while Rising Jaguar is getting an increase to make his damage combo more threatening. Branching Bolas reduced mana cost, scaling from 6 to 14 to 3 to 15 mana per shot. So late game is slightly more intensive, but that's fine. Because you're going to have a lot of mana by then, and that won't affect you much. They've cut it in half at rank 1, which is a big change. And that'll certainly help him a lot. The guy eats mana. Thinking about what else with him. So yeah, he's consistently had a bad early game compared to most other hunters because he only has a slow and an escape that has channel time until he has CC immunity, and they just weren't very good for helping you box hunters like, for example, on her, who can throw a pillar to increase his damage and impale you into a wall, and you can't do anything about it, and you're just dead. So, yeah, he consistently gets outboxed early because he has less tools to deal with a target. And then Rising Jaguar increased physical power scaling from 20% to 30%, and increased bonus damage on poison targets from 20% to 30%, which I've never read that tooltip closely on that ability, so I didn't actually know that was a thing. But that's cool to make Rising Jaguar more relevant. Make it a little more threatening so he can fight into those hunters that have strong combos. Very important. Zeus. Zeus has seen quite the resurgence on the battleground of the gods. His ability to clear early with Aegis Assault and use it to threaten further damage helps him to bully his opponents in lane for an early lead. Aegis Assault will now deal less damage when it is deployed to tone down this early game pressure. Decrease initial hit from 80 scaling to 260, down to 60 scaling to 240. Alright. Good change, because that Aegis Assault does quite a bit of damage on those minions. When you can do that and auto it to kill them, that's pretty effective for early clear. They tend to do this when a god seems to be being played quite a bit as compared to other gods, then they always get toned down. Because variety is cool. And Zhang Kui, probably my favorite mage. The Demon Queller is gaining more control over his damage and utility this patch. First, the demons from Exorcism Recall demons now move quicker. This will help Jean-Qui feel more responsive and lower the window that enemies can react to chasing ghosts before they get hit. Expose Evil will also now deal 75% of its remaining damage when consumed by either Exorcism or Book of Demons. These abilities have strong additional effects, but often losing the long duration, slow, and damage from Expose Evil left Jean-Qui in a worse spot. By getting some of the damage back, Jean-Qui players will now be able to make smarter decisions about when to or when not to remove this card. Expose Evil. Increase the remaining damage dealt from 40% to 75% when Expose Evil is removed by Exorcism or Book of Demons. This is like an 80% increase in the damage. Oh my god. What is happening? Like, I think they're nuts. That's gonna make him too strong. Like, that's so much more damage, man. I know they want it to feel better by making it more worth it to remove Expose Evil with an ability. Like, man, that thing has such a low cooldown. If you get a lot of cooldown, then it doesn't matter, basically, because you'll have that thing up after it, like, 2 seconds after it wears off, and you can just keep on throwing it. It's crazy, man. Exorcism. Reduce the time it takes for demons created by Exorcism to reach Jean-Qui and heal him. I have been an unfortunate victim of that problem, where I've died because I did not get the demons quick enough to heal me. That is a problem with him, and it was very easy to abuse. I'm glad they fixed it. Book of Demons updated tooltip to make it clear that when Book of Demons removes Expose Evil, it deals 75% of Expose Evil's remaining damage. Okay. Wait. Removes Expose Evil, it deals 75% of its remaining damage. Oh, that's weird. Is that what it does when... Oh, okay. I read this wrong. This is weird. I didn't know this was a thing. It's reducing the remaining damage on Expose Evil, so it's encouraging you to use it right after you cast it. To use another ability right after you've cast Expose Evil. Because it'll do that much of the remaining damage that has not been dealt and tick damage from it. Okay, that's different. Not as broken. He's not going to make it as broken as I thought. I thought it was 75% extra damage on Exorcism and Book of Demons. Okay, makes more sense now. I like this better. Let's see. And finally, Recall Demons. Increase the travel speed of demons released by Recall Demons. It's very annoying when people are able to walk out of range and not take the full damage from Recall Demons because they move too slow. Now, because they go faster, more of them will hit targets before they're able to escape. That's very good. I like that. But also note drawbacks. If you have an Aegis and you use it, you will be blocking more damage because if the travel speed increases, that means they're coming out faster. So you will expend them much quicker, meaning that more damage can be blocked from them. Which, be mindful of that, but I think it's a good change because they did cast very slowly. It was kind of annoying. Alright, everybody. So, leave a like, subscribe if you like the analysis there. Leave feedback if you agree or disagree with the analysis. And I'll see you guys later for either the Cernunnos first look or a Kuzenbo duel video. Deuces.